Hi everyone, this is Raquel from scrapcosy, and today I'm bringing you 3 very special videos for me. I'm super excited to introduce you to my very first 3 collections of stamps and stencils that I've designed for PaperArtsy and that you can order straight away from the retailer shops in the lists available in the PaperArtsy blog post on the release. Link in the description below. As you can see, these are vintage illustrations. They've been curated from very old documents and books that I found by chance. I thought it would be a pity that such a treasure remained trapped and forgotten among the aged pages of the unopened books for good. So I decided to bring them to life again in the shape of stamps you'll see today. I have to say a huge thank you to Leandra and Mark for believing in them and giving me the chance so I can be here today as a guest designer for the beautiful brand PaperArtsy. In this first video, you can see the first collections. The stamps are ESC01, Eclectica Scrapcosy 1, although I like to refer to them as Rare and Beautiful Flowers. And the stencil PS049 completes this first collection, and I designed it like if it was a sign of a gardening shop in the romantic Paris. Oh la la! Now you know these beauties, let's get them to work a little bit and get a card done with them. First of all, I'm getting some smoothie paper from PaperArtsy and I'm cutting a base, which will be for my background. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then the next step is going to be applying a layer of color using one of the new infusions, I think it's called Rusticar, to get a uniform layer. In this case, I'm adding a lot of water because what I want to do is, as I said, a unified color. More or less, of course. So I'm going to use a little brush to extend everything and then I'll dry it out. And in the meantime, I will switch on my laminator so it gets warm because we are going to work with foil today. I will be adding a little bit more of infusions until I get the background that I like. Right now I would like to add a little bit more of texture, and for that I'm kind of using the water remaining to add a few drops here and there. So then I get a more interesting background. I'll keep on applying infusions in different ways until I actually achieve what I like. Here I'm applying it with a little napkin, directly into the napkin and then spraying. And here I'm just applying a little bit more. So then I get those drops coming here and there, up and down. Once I'm happy and everything is dry, I'll go for the next step. Now I'll add another layer of texture and color with infusions first, and then I will foil the infusions. So I'm applying the infusions only on the edges and I'm getting ready with all the materials that I need. So I'll do 2 first spritzes of water, dry it a little bit, then apply the foil on top, and then go this through the laminator twice. By passing this through the laminator, the humid walnut will heat enough as to make the foil stick to it, at least to the bigger particles. So in addition to the infusion colors and the little walnut dots, we will also get gold dots in the pattern. How many dots will depend both on how much infusions you apply and the humidity of the paper. It doesn't have to be very wet, as you saw. Just try and experiment with it. Now we are going to do some stenciling. For that I will be using grunge paste by PaperArtsy. What I'll be doing now is sticking with some washi tape the stencil to my surface, the table, and then I will also be putting some on top of part of the stencil that I actually don't want to use, like the dahlia. So then the texture paste doesn't go beyond that. I'm whisking it a little bit and then you get the feeling that it's so fluffy afterwards. I really like to work with this paste. So now I'm applying a very thin layer on top. Although I picked a lot, you'll see that I will put everything back, or almost everything back, in the pot. And once I have it all in the pot, I'll just go ahead and heat set it. It's very important to clean your stencils, very important, otherwise it will get clogged. This paste is very good because you can actually heat set it with the heat gun and it will not make any bubbles or blisters. So you can keep on working and you don't have to wait. Now I'm doing the bottom part of it. So again, I'm sticking it to the surface and I'm applying again a thin layer. You'll see here that I go beyond the places that I didn't cover, but that's alright because you can remove them with a spatula without any problems. This texture paste, apart from being super good as a texture paste, it has a very rough texture, which is very nice, and it has also a very good quality, which I haven't tried yet, but I think I will, which you can actually sand it and then you can get rid of it, but not of everything, so you will be left with something that it's actually water resistant. Leandra has explained that in some of her videos. Now let's apply some color through the stencil. I will be using Gold Fresco, one of the acrylic paints by PaperArtsy. I believe this one is an opaque one, and you don't need that much. So the blob that I got, I just put it back on the pot, and then I will be applying it with a sponge. Don't be very hard on it. I actually did, and then I got the I and the A on Dahlia a little bit blurry because I applied too much paint. So you actually need to dab it little by little, and I will be doing it a bit more carefully on the bottom part. And when I finish, I will also apply a little bit of paint, just with the dauber, without the stencil on it, in case that something was very white, so it doesn't get that sharp color. There is a very good thing about this paint, it dries very easily, very quickly, so you don't need to wait a lot to carry on with your project. That's great for your project, but it's not great for your stencil, so you need to take care of it and clean it when you finish. But don't panic, even if it stays there, it can be removed. It will just take a little bit more time from you. Okay, we are done with the stenciling. Now let's go back a little bit with infusions, just for a second. In this time, I'm going to use infusions just to age the edges. So I'm applying some infusions on the table, and then I'm spritzing some water, and with the resulting ink, let's call it, I'm just painting the edges. As you can see, the bottom part was a bit too dark, so I will be applying a bit more water to soften it out. Now we need to dry it. I would use the heat gun, but it was very late at night, so I decided to use a paper towel instead. Now I'm going to stamp the focal point with VersaFine ink. I've selected the Agapanthus flower, which is very tiny and it's lovely. It's one of my favorites in the stamp set. Can you see the gold dots and the detail? Now let's create the base. So I'm getting a piece of cardstock and then I'm scoring it to 4.5 by 5 3/4. So I'm basically leaving 1/4 inch extra of the size of the card, which was 4.25 by 5.5. So I'm cutting it to the right size, and before assembling it, I will be painting the borders again with gold to bring everything together. You don't need much paint and you don't need to paint everything, so as I've done in other videos, I'm just painting the edges and that's enough. And as I said, this paint dries very quickly, so that's why I can easily put it on top of the surface that I just paint, and I won't get any dirt or any stains on the back of the card. Now I'm assembling it with ATG gun. You can use any glue, but this one for me is very comfortable to use. So this is how the card looks like. I hope you like it. I'll put some photos next so you can have a look at the details. This was the first video with the first set. It doesn't end here because I want to show you an alternative ending, or rather another example of card that I got by just altering the order of the steps, which had an impact on the result. In this case, I applied infusions first, then grunge paste, and then I mixed it with water, dry it a little bit, put the foil on top and passed it through the laminator twice, as I did before. In this case, the foil is not only sticking to the infusions but also to the grunge paste, so as you can see, the letters have become very shiny. Now I will apply a little bit more infusions on the sides, so then I get a few more golden dots and pass it through the laminator again. So this was the video for the first set. I hope you like it. So if you did, I would appreciate your comments and thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel and continue with the rest of the videos in the release, not only mine, but also Leandra's, who has prepared a fabulous video with the gorgeous samples that Jennie and Lynn and I have prepared for the release. I have to say also a huge thank you to these two ladies, since they've made awesome projects with these samples and stencils. I'm so lucky to have had them by my side. Check all the information in the PaperArtsy blog for more inspiration. Thanks for watching. Bye!